Okay, welcome to Hybrid Diaries. This is episode 5, and we are here with Michael Logue. I'm going to get that wrong. Logue?
That's correct. You bang on.
So he is a coach for us. He's just started with Spirit Level. He's just moved to Dubai. We're super excited to share that news with you and share a bit more about Mike. Welcome, Mike. Welcome to Spirit Level. Welcome to Dubai.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me have the job.
Well, he's not actually officially started yet, so he's getting a bit ahead of himself there.
We're just mega keen.
Yeah, we're just very keen. We're actually really keen to share his story and what sort of training he does. And we're excited for him to get some clients out here as well and see what he can do with them. So, Mike, tell us, how old are you? And how long have you been in Dubai? And tell us a bit about your background, mate.
So I'm 30 years old. I've been in Dubai for about 6 weeks now, so very fresh. Never planned on coming to Dubai, even as a holiday. But here I am living here. Moved out here, basically just followed my girlfriend out here. And living the dream so far. It's all good. So
Nice. And sorry, you said you've been here 6 weeks and you never even thought about coming out here on holiday.
No.
So you literally came out here just because she got a job out here and you thought, you know what, this place looks cool.
What do you mean, just because? That's a good enough reason.
Yeah, something like that. No, to be fair, I think I've seen how big the fitness industry is over here, and it's since being out here. And I think it's Dubai. It's one of those places. It depends who you surround yourself with and where you surround yourself. And since being out here, all I've sort of done is go to the gyms and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a good space to be in. There's so much to do out here. Everything's so accessible. So it's been good.
And it's also getting similar prices to the UK, and living out in Dubai. We went back recently and we noticed that the prices in the UK, like even like food and drinks, things like that, it's like the same as Dubai now.
Literally comparing boxes of cereal.
Yeah, we were.
Price for price.
Yeah, what was it?
£5 for a box of Kellogg's Crunchy Nut.
Yeah, and that doesn't take a lot of time to eat either.
Yeah,
that's one more.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question. We'll get to how much you eat.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. How long have you been training? Are you like a lifetime athlete?
Yeah, so my background is I did a lot of running when I was younger, so I did athletics, cross country. That was sort of my main thing. And then I did like rugby, football, all that sort of stuff. And then sort of like went on to, obviously, as you do as a sort of a young lad, you just want to be like get henge. Henge is the word. So started hitting the gym, and then just everything kind of progressed from there. And obviously then I went into the Marines and then continued that, and then everyone wants to get more hench in there. Yeah. and fitter, so it carries on from there. So yeah.
Wicked. That's one thing it's probably one of the main topics I wanted to chat about actually, is obviously you said you were in the Marines. So what year did you go in? And you were in there, I remember you told me you were in there 5 years.
Yeah, so I was in there 5 years. I probably came out 3 years ago, and I was in there sort of 5 years. So I think I went in maybe 2015, something like that. But yeah, sort of, it was just something I always wanted to do, to be honest. There was no real reason for me to go in, to be honest. My granddad was in the Navy, and my uncle was in the Navy, but they weren't part of the Marines, so it was kind of just a bit of just basically to see they sell it online, don't they? And the adverts are 99.9% need not apply. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just that it was
a challenge.
You want it to be the 0.01.
Yeah, exactly. So
I remember seeing the adverts in the UK. They'd come up and they'd like show like something outdoors, and then all of a sudden a man would appear from a tree, and it was to show you how good the Marines were.
Yeah, like one of my friends he's got the old spider coming down his. There's an advert with a tarantula coming down his face.
And that's your mate.
He's the guy doing that. But, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff.
Would you flinch?
Yeah, probably. Especially now I'm on the outside. Yeah,
Did you enjoy it in the Marines?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a good time in my life, to be honest. It was like 5 years. You're surrounded by your best friends, just doing good stuff, and but it runs its course. And I think for me, it ran its course, and I was quite sort of happy to come out the other side. But in terms of like my time in there, it was good up until obviously you have to give a year's notice to leave. So
bloody hell.
A year's notice is a long amount of time when you know you want to leave. So,
I didn't know that. What was the coolest thing that you did?
Good question. Very good question.
Could be coolest or most extreme.
So we did like a few courses. So we did. So I specialised as a mountain leader in the Marines. So we were sort of like Arctic cold weather warfare trained, and like surveillance and reconnaissance experts. So that was my sort of like role within the Marines, which was like, and that's a hard process to get into in terms of like your selection, in terms of then training, pretty rigorous. And funnily enough, I actually hate the mountains and hate the cold.
Yeah, I remember you said
that. But it was the hardest physical course you could do in the Marines, and again, sort of the main reason I did it. So that was probably pretty cool, like doing all that sort of stuff and being freezing and miserable.
Yeah. Would you say that was also the hardest thing?
Yeah. To be fair, there's been many times where, like, you know, when people say they're cold, you've never fully been cold.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a few times where been on like survival things and just like literally spooning in another bloke to just get that little bit more. Just don't really like to admit to it, but yeah, that needs must and all.
I was going to say, is there something that you still call upon when you're going through something hard, let's say like a really, really tough training session, and you're having to really dig deep?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you kind of think back on from Marines, think, look, I've done that, I can do this?
Yeah, to be fair, I think everything's hard at the time, isn't it? And as soon as you look back on it, it doesn't seem as hard. So there's loads of tests in the Marines where you think, and you put things on a pedestal, and then you do them, and then you realise actually it wasn't as hard as it was meant out to be. But I always used to, when I was in the Marines, and still a bit now, which is probably not the best sort of mindset to have, but sometimes I always used to think it'll come to an end one way or another. So you could die, or you could just faint or whatever. But one way.
You must be pushing himself in some workouts.
Yeah.
That's the phrase, isn't it? This too shall pass.
Yeah. So that was sort of my thinking.
I'm definitely going to use that quote now, by the way, in a post that I do of you on Instagram. You could die. You might die.
You might die. You know, sign your life away.
In the Marines, did you go anywhere and like fight?
No, so I joined at a time where Afghanistan had come to an end, and it was sort of. So for me, I joined with the aspirations to sort of like be involved in conflict.
Right.
When I was first in, I think it was like I was obviously quite young, and those were sort of like aspirations of mine. But then actually, I think there's a flip of that, and actually, I think as I matured and got older, I think I realised that that's not what I wanted, and sort of for me, I hit a crossroads in terms of my career where it was I was either going to continue and potentially go on for selection, which would have guaranteed probably seeing some sort of conflict going into the special forces, and obviously that's again a rigorous process, and again something that a lot of people put on a pedestal, and it should be on a pedestal for what it is. I've got a lot of friends that are in that space now, and it's a good space to be, but for me personally, like it was more I didn't really see the relevance in what I would be fighting for, and then in terms of your mental health sort of side of things, I think that's like a big thing, and it comes up more and more nowadays, doesn't it, than ever. And I think so that was for me, it was just like get out, settle down, have a nice life.
You've got 5 years of experience, some great training.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of training, mate, so in the Marines, like, don't you have to do some sort of like crazy tests to even get in? What talk us through that? What sort of thing?
Yeah, so you do like a pre-joining fitness test, which is pretty simple. You normally go to like a gym, and you'll do it'll be like a 3-mile run on a treadmill, so it'll be like 1.5 miles at a certain pace and 1.5 miles best effort, and you have to get under a certain time. And I think
do you know what they are? What are them time?
Yeah, I think the first one's really slow. It's not really slow. It's slow-ish. But I'm pretty sure the second one has got to be in under 10.5, so it's 7-minute miles. It's just for 1.5 miles.
Okay.
So it's not particularly hard.
And that's just no kit on either, right? You just
no kit on, nothing really. And then you go from there. You obviously have your medicals and stuff like that, if I'm remembering it correctly. And then you go on to your sort of like PRMC, which is like your first taste of like being completely the civilian, completely not understanding anything about anything.
Right.
And then just going in there, and you're there for 3 days. And so from there you'll do your outdoor tests, you'll do your gym tests. So your outdoor test will be like you'll do that run. There's a specific running route down near Livingston where the training camp is, and you'll do like 1.5 miles out, and then it'll be 1.5 miles best effort back in.
Nice.
That's good fun. And then you'll go into your like gym tests, which I think have changed again now, but when I joined it was like bleep test, it was your press up test, pull up test, sit ups, and they're all done to a bleep. So they're obviously like if you're not doing them to a bleep and you're not having to like go up and down to that, they're not too bad.
I'm getting ideas when you're talking about this.
Yeah.
I think you should be doing putting some people through the test.
Yeah, we should.
I expect to see this in classes soon.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, we should definitely do a marine.
Pre-joining fitness test.
Yeah. You're gonna come join Mike's classes, and you need to come and do his marines test.
Yeah. So that was one side. Then you had like a basic swimming test. I can't really remember what that entailed. I think it.
Do you have to do any like carrying bodies or carrying like heavy weight?
Not in like your PRMT really. You did and then you did like basically a bottom field, which was your assault course, and that's basically just where they just try and weed you out a little bit. So just like sort of the word in Marines that we used to use is thrashing, and that basically just used to mean physically, just mentally, just
try and break it,
abusing you to an extent, in a nice way. It's probably not as much allowed as it is as it used to be now. We're in a sort of the PC world we're in, but yeah, so it used to be that, and then you would go and do the I can't remember what the name of it is now, the endurance course,
right?
Which is basically, and that's got so that's like it's a 6 mile course in total, and that's got loads of little obstacles and little tunnels and stuff like that, and they've got like the famous sheep dip, which is the one where you basically just go underwater through a tunnel and you just get passed through. But to be fair, it's
not very long.
It's probably about as big as the sofa. So
okay.
Someone's going to be on one end to grab you,
just pull you through. Yeah. Okay. You wouldn't want to get stuck in there.
Yeah. So I think that weeds out like a lot of people, and then obviously the process from there it only just begins, and then you carry on, and then you go into your 8 months of training, which is pretty rigorous, to say the least.
Mate, you told me the other day, so I was explaining about something that I did in Dubai, which I thought was pretty stupid for 24 hours. And then you came back with, oh yeah, I did this one thing once where we just got sent off in December for 4 days, and you just spoke about it so casual. Yeah. Tell us a bit more about that, because that sounded like pretty extreme.
Yeah, so that was, so again, because we're being a mountain leader, we were sort of like surveillance reconnaissance. So technically we would be behind enemy lines. So it's a course called SEER, which is, so a lot of special forces do it, and it's basically a survive, evade, resist, extract course. It's a little bit like, parts of it is what you see on SES Who Dares Wins, which so there's little parts of that, and it's basically a course where you have a week of sort of training, and then you go on the run for sort of like three to 4 days, if I'm remembering correctly. And it was down. Where was it down? It was down towards. Well, I know where I went out on the piss, and it was in Newquay. And I went on Friday, Saturday, Sunday bender, and this was this was just the week before we were, like, on the Monday we were going on the run. The anxiety levels, the levels of like dehydration were severe. But basically you go on the run, you move at night, and
by go on the run, you mean you get sent off and someone's going to send after you, basically, to try and catch it.
Yeah,
so
basically you had points which you had to get to over the course of the evening. So you had 3 evenings where you would move. So technically people knew where you were moving to, and you obviously had a sort of like a cordoned off. It's huge. It's a huge training area down south. But you had sort of like, they had dog trackers, they had professional trackers, and then they just had some other lads from the military just having a good time. And so it was good. So luckily for us, sort of on our first night, it was like December, and we were running across the field, and one of the lads turned around and there was a dog tracker behind us, so dog tracker chasing after us. And if you get caught, basically, you get like sort of a check against your name, but you just don't want to be caught, because you're going back to wherever you're from. If you're up at 4 or 5 Commando, if you're from a unit, like a fighting unit, just wouldn't go down very well.
What sort of thing? What would happen?
Nothing. You just
like a mark against your name.
Yeah, you'd just be known as a bit of a not a great bloke. So
right.
It wouldn't be a good place.
So you really don't want to get caught there now. So you're just going to live with it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So we ran across this field, and unfortunately, the only thing that we basically came across this massive pond, and obviously we were going against the dog, so we just all jumped in the pond. And
was it frozen?
Yeah, and this was like the first night, and so yeah.
Did you get one of them little straws like in that? So there was an advert, wasn't there, where they had the like piece of straw as a snorkel. Yeah. That was another one of your mates.
Yeah. So that was the start of it, and like obviously from there we only had, I think we had a litre of water each, and that was pretty much it.
And no food.
And then we just had no food, and then just had freezing cold clothes. And then you basically you continue that sort of process for the next sort of, you lay up in the day, so you're just chilling, relaxing in the day.
Yeah.
So relaxing.
But still not eating.
Still not eating.
So no food for 4 days, just water.
Yeah, no food. And then you can get food if you can like forage it or you can find it, but there wasn't really much there, to be fair. And then from there you basically at the end of it you get captured.
Yeah.
And then don't know how much I can say, but then you basically you go into sort of like a process which is similar to like what you see on the SAS Who Dares Wins, where there's sort of like you basically got a backstory, and the whole thing with it is you've kind of got to buy into it, because it's basically in terms of you need to keep yourself valuable enough to whoever would capture you, so that you give little bits of information, but you don't give too much away. And I think that's exactly what you see in
That's like to keep yourself alive as such, so that they don't.
Yes, to keep
you're
yourself,
feeding them information. You see it in the movies, don't you? They feed information really slowly.
And it's just to keep yourself valuable. But yeah, so that was an interesting process.
Sounds fun. Sounds easy.
Yeah,
sort of thing we do at the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
we can run one. We could run one for the members. Get them involved.
We're trying to recruit people here, Michael. Not
Yeah, we're trying. I definitely think we'll be putting on.
Weed out the week.
Yeah, that's what we can call it. Weed out the weakness. I definitely think we can look into doing the fitness test. Definitely, it's very relevant. And coming into talking about fitness. So obviously, since you left the Marines, you became a full-time coach. You didn't do that straight away, right?
No, so I fell back into my old line of work, which was joinery, and I continued that sort of probably 3 years now, and then basically sort of like picked up, I did Ollie Marchon's PFC, I think it's PFC A or something course,
right?
Which is like an online PT course. Did that, and then basically became PT through that, and then started working in 2 gyms back home, F45 and like an urban reform. So did that, and then sort of like got clients from that. But it was all a bit. It's probably something I wanted to do full time for a very long time, but I've just never put the time into it, and I've kind of always been in a good position with my other work, so it's kind of never sort of featured. But I think since moving out to Dubai, it's been like the perfect opportunity to explore it more and just to do it. So
and there's every corner you go around in Dubai, there's a gym. There's so many here, and there's so many that open and then close because they just get excited. Don't get the sign-ups or enough people through the door, can't keep it running, or you get some that have no members and they've just got a very wealthy owner that they don't mind losing money. It's just like a hobby. So then after the joinery, that's when you start, or is it so it's only now full-time since being in Dubai? Okay.
So joinery was sort of like I was working 7:30 till 3:30, and then I was coming straight into Manchester City Centre because I worked out sort of like on the suburbs, and then I was working like sort of like 5 till 9 in the evening every night, just like PTing and running classes and doing my own sort of thing. So it was quite hectic. So it was quite nice coming out to just like
relax a bit.
Mellowing.
And get to do something you enjoy, right? Because you're obviously passionate about fitness and sport,
Yeah, exactly.
And then you heard about us and our classes. Had you heard about Spirit Level before when you were in the UK, or like we met you when you came to class, right?
Yeah, you came to. I saw that you
we
came.
met you when you joined one of our classes.
So luckily, and I think very luckily, like obviously you were hosting the Higher-Ups PFT.
Yes.
And the Higher-Ups PFT was going to be here, and then obviously I saw Spirit Level, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. Looked on the Instagram, and I think I messaged George saying, can I come do the class? Because the class was perfectly, like it was like just before the PFT, and obviously the Higher-Ups PFT is like very shortish. Yeah. So I was like, come down and explore it, and then came down and loved it. I was like,
I forgot you did our 90-minute class, and then straight into the PFT.
How he wobbles, any good?
It was a lot of everything that day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of everything. It was like 6 minutes work and then 3 minutes work on each exercise. But it was good.
And it was hot, and I think the AC broke when you did the PFT, so you're pretty much doing it in like extreme conditions, which, mate, you sit in freezing cold lake, so it should feel like nothing. It's just the other extreme.
Yeah, the other extreme.
Speaking about then fitness and hybrid and PFTs, so I know that you did High-Rocks. You did your first High-Rocks start of this year in Manchester, hometown. I saw a grumpy photo that you posted on your Instagram and you weren't happy about it. Tell us about that.
So I'm terrible for it, and that's why I'm kind of glad I'm training with you two now, hopefully a bit more, so that I can actually hold myself accountable. I have this very bad thing of like signing up for things and doing like well in them, but not doing like the best because I don't train sufficiently for them, because like I just sort of
wing
like,
it,
yeah, wing it, so to speak. So no, I did the Hyrox in Manchester and like just I entered into the pros, and it was just like I knew it was obviously going to be hard, but as soon as I think I ran and then got onto that ski, I was like, oh,
this is going to hurt.
This is going to.
And you didn't train for it.
So I did a little bit of training for it, but not, and I didn't do specifics.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think like this now, obviously working here and then Dubai in September.
Yeah.
Like, the goal is to
win.
I didn't want to say it.
What was your time in Manchester?
Is 108 bang on.
Right. Oh, nice.
Which was all right.
It's strong for first in the pro heat. 108 for your first one, untrained, like not specifically trained.
Yeah, and the distance was definitely long. We discussed.
Yeah, we heard that
Yeah.
rumor. Yeah, the distance was.
Harris messed up the distance.
Also, it's a 3-lap course, right? Which I know we can talk about a little bit. I know you've only done one, but we've now done 12 between us, and we've noticed, and everyone's noticed who's done a few now, that the more laps, the more corners, the more times you have to slow down and speed back up. I figured it out the other day. The difference between a 2-lap and a 3-lap, you're doing 32 more corners. So you're having to slow down and speed up 32 more times.
Yeah,
so you're obviously going to be slower.
Mm.
I think at Worlds, the Elite 15 had 4 laps. So the fact that Lauren Weeks went and ran a sub 60, she won, ran a sub 60, only the second person to do that on a 4-lap course is insane.
And running's all about rhythm at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So that rhythm's
finding
broken
that
up
rhythm.
32 more times, so it's going to be slower.
Yeah.
I mean, what a venue though. That venue, Manchester, we said it in January, because we would have been there. We might have even crossed paths then, you know, but we did the mixed doubles, which was in the morning, mid-morning, and then you guys were in the evening, right?
Yeah, because I went in the morning and then it was like, saw it all, and then it was like 7 o'clock in the evening, my race was like, it's a long way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was your favourite and worst station, would you say? I mean, you've already told me you don't like the wall balls.
Yeah, wall balls is just such a mental, it's
Yeah.
just like a horrible thing in the end, isn't it? It's just a grim and bad.
And you're still taking it out on our wall balls in the gym.
Yeah.
Punching
Still-
them around.
Yeah,
He's still angry.
You need to
Still
follow
not.
Michael on Instagram, because he keeps posting like, you did that one you did the
Oh
other
yeah,
day.
the wall balls have been getting out there. There's 2 videos actually. There's one of me just throwing them all over the place,
Yeah.
and one of them just getting punched the other day. The session.
You picked one off the shelf, one fell off, and then you dropped the other one, and then they hit the kettlebells and rolled out.
And they roll so far
Yeah,
away
they
from
roll
you.
in complete opposite directions as well. So I'd like to think I'm quite good at burpees, and I quite like burpees, but
Right.
even like that for me was like the burpee.
80 metres is a long way, isn't it?
You don't think 80 meters is that long, but
Yeah. And you're tall. How tall are you?
I always say just about 6'1", but I'm probably just under 6'1".
Yeah. Yes. Anything over 6 foot, it's a long way down and a long way back up. I say this to my clients. You know, the taller you are, you've got further to go down, further to get back up. But then you do have the advantage on things like the ski erg and things like row. You know. 80 meters of burpee sucks. So you're going to be coaching for us. I know you're doing some other work elsewhere and picking up new clients and getting your name out there. Well, you know, you're getting your name out there in Dubai. You've only been here 6 weeks. I think obviously you rocked up here and set a pretty fast time in the PFT after doing a 90-minute class. Your form was decent in all your reps, because I was watching you. I know there's some people out there doing PFTs and having really bad form. Yours was solid after basically doing it in a sauna. You know, so I think a lot of people recognise you from that. I'm excited to do some training together. I'm sure Danny is as well, and a lot of the other members. I know you've been covering some classes for us while we've been away, and people have said good things about the classes that you're in. Looking to introduce some classes.
And all the members, and I think that's one thing that, you know, with Hyrox, and I think I spoke to Danny about it. I think actually when you're training for something specific, like I think when you start training to look a certain way, like. There's like you'll get to a certain point where you'll just be like, oh, you'll never be satisfied. Whereas actually, if you train to sort of like specific for something like Hyrox, which is perfect in every way because it's like a full hybrid workout. You'll naturally byproducts of that. You're looking decent now. Very decent.
Would you ever do doubles?
I would, but it's just relying on someone, isn't it? At least you can blame yourself if it doesn't go wrong.
Yeah.
But then even the pressure of like if you then don't perform, someone's always gonna be better than the other person. I would do it to be better.
I think
it.
If they I'd be up for it. I'd say if Hyrox Middle East were to eventually run a 2-day event, which I guess we can talk about in a minute from our experience. But if Hyrox Middle East were to run a 2-day event and they had the pro race on, say, the first day and then doubles on the second, I'd be much more likely to do a doubles. And I think that's the best way to go about it if they want the competitive athletes racing twice. Because most of them, their A race is going to be their pro race. That's what they've been training for. And then they could just do the doubles for fun the following day. Like you're not really going to do well in the pro race if you've just raced doubles like all out, you know.
Yeah, and even if it they could potentially say like it's obviously in the morning, but there's still just not enough time to recover. But as you say, if you did one day and one the next, and in terms of obviously, I think we spoke about it in terms of how busy. And I think that's one thing I noticed when I went to obviously watch in Manchester. You were obviously in the mixed doubles. I was like, how is this like? There's supposed to be a fast lane and a slow lane, but that doesn't work because everyone thinks they're running fast.
Yeah. And I lose my voice pretty much because I'm just shouting passing left, right?
Yeah.
It's exhausting. Actually, I think in training, people need, if you're doing doubles, especially if you are one of the faster runners, you kind of almost need to practice shouting whilst you're running because it's extra effort. You know, it really is. We had it in Amsterdam. We had it in Manchester. We just had it in Manchester again. What about the relay? Have you looked into the relay before?
I've seen I know a lad out here who I think they got the record.
We were 1 second off the record in Amsterdam. Really? Yeah, but that was the men's relay, not the mix. Now in Dubai they've only got the mix, so 2 guys, 2 girls. Yeah, but we can't do it if we're doing pro. The relay's directly afterwards.
It looks fun, doesn't it? Because it's in the sense of you can just go all out. You can go.
Yeah, Danny's gonna do it, aren't you? She's doing it in September.
I get the burpees and the lunges, I think.
Burpees and lunges.
But it's good in the sense, obviously, like I think it was a shock for me when I did Hyrox because just doing a longer workout, I think I'm probably better over shorter to medium.
Yeah.
But doing that sort of like longer workout, but being able to do that shorter, intense, like and just go for it, pretty fun.
Yeah, that is what the relay's about. It's just an absolute smash fest. And if you like the shorter stuff, the doubles you're sharing the load, so like your burpees you can pretty much go all out and just share like five burpees each. When it comes to obviously solo, you have to do it all on your own, so you can go a little bit harder. And I know you said you're primarily a runner, like you're from a running background, so you're still running the 8k in the doubles, but then you can hit those stations like all out, not all out, but you know you're going really hard in them. So that might suit you if you find the right part. I mean, I'd love to do it, you know, it's right up our street, get our name out there even more. What was I saying? Yeah, so the doubles, all out. I said about your running. So I know that I think you recently updated your Instagram bio just to brag a little bit about your running times. No shame.
Yeah, no shame.
Tell us about them because they're fast, especially for how much do you weigh, mate? You're not exactly
I'm weighing probably now just like close to
90 kg. And what's your run PBs? I saw that you put your 5.
So I've not done a 10k, so I need to do a 10k. I haven't done a 10k in God knows how long. But I did a 5k I just started. So me and the girlfriend Dom, we started doing park runs. So she obviously classic lockdown, like, because when I used to run, I think obviously I ran when I was younger and I ran to a good level, and so sort of like time stuff. Whereas I think then it got older, and then running was just like for enjoyment. It wasn't for like running to get a time. And then obviously everyone started doing like 5Ks and then like share it and involve everyone. So then we started doing park runs and getting hurt. We got Dom involved. And then, so I did 16:38 was my best one. Did that after a fairly heavy session with the lads.
You just
got a 16:38 5k pissed.
Fish and chips and a doner kebab the night before. But I got incentive. She said to me, if you win, I'll give you 50 quid. No, I think she just bet that I wouldn't win.
So you made a bet.
Yeah, and I think that just spurred me on a little bit more. So
definitely very competitive.
So it went extra hard that day. I was in tatters afterwards for like the rest of the day, but it was worth. And then I did London Landmarks half last year.
Half marathon?
Yeah, half marathon. I did that in 1:17. I actually ran that for a mate, so if ever you look this up, and he'll
comes with a different.
If ever you look this up, it's under Matt Lister. So if you look at Matt Lister,
He's not running that time.
He's in all right nick, but he's not running that time. He's heavier built than I am. So
he took his bib and ran his time for him.
Took his bib and ran his time.
I wonder if he's got that time on his Instagram like you have.
Oh, I mean, he was telling all his work folk that he got that time. And then I did as a little sort of challenge to myself. I hadn't run in like 6 months, and then just before I came out to Dubai, I did the Manchester Marathon. I just wanted to I wanted to put myself in a dark hole and see how far I could push
we all
myself.
like to just put ourselves in dark holes every so often.
So and I did manage to get just sub 3, so I got 250
Nice.
to 250,
Nice.
which was alright.
Yeah, strong.
Not too
That's
bad.
good. And then you had a strong. Have you got 1500 or a mile? I think you've got a mile on your Instagram bio as well, or am I making that up? Maybe I looked at someone else's.
I could make up a really good time right now.
We see you like the shorter, faster stuff.
Yeah.
We need to get you to track. So we run track every Monday. It'd be good to get you there. We're there this morning. I mean, it's growing. I guess that's because High Rocks Dubai's here and people want to be running. They know that they need to run. What would be your advice for people going into High Rocks that have never done it?
Other than train. I think you need to split your sessions down. I think obviously running here, like we're running obviously a strength style session and then endurance session, and then obviously you've got your sort of like running based sessions. I think you need to sort of be hitting those 3 every week.
Yeah.
And I think it's just there's so many tips and tricks that you will not think about or you will not understand. And I think if you can make yourself 10% more efficient in every single area that you work within High Rocks, you'll find it obviously that bit easier, and you'll do that much better in terms of High Rocks.
Would you say obviously you went into it without doing one? Did you even simulate it when you didn't simulate it?
No.
So I've been telling people to get simulations in before they do one, just so they know, because it comes as a surprise, right? I'm sure you felt that in January, right? You, like you said, you got to the ski erg and you're like, wow, like this is, you've already done a run and you're starting on the ski erg, and it's almost like a shock to the system. Would you agree it's good advice? Get a sim in?
Yeah, definitely. I think I always say to people, you need to concentrate on your breathing, and you breathe into one thing that messes you up.
Yeah.
And in terms of obviously the running can be easy because you get into a rhythm with your breathing. But as soon as then you go into something like burpee broad jumps, your breathing has to change. Or like when you go into the skiing, your breathing has to change. You have to row everything. So I think obviously the more you simulate it, the more accustomed you then become to it, and the better and more efficient you'll be in terms of end goal.
Yeah. I'd say the rhythm is key there, isn't it? Yeah. You get it's easy to lose rhythm with so many people on the course when you're racing doubles, but also when you have to do a lot of burpees or you have to carry some heavy kettlebells to the farmers carry, you can very quickly panic breathe, and then your heart rate shoots higher and it's really hard to get it back down, and it can almost be game over really early on. Well, people make mistakes from the ski erg, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be running a couple of 2 or 3 classes a week for us, and online programming and a bit of PT here and there.
Hopefully.
What kind of coaching style do you have? Like, have you brought your military training into your coaching? Are you drill sergeant style?
I am friendly. Before anyone
He's going to put you in an ice cold pool.
Ice cold pool to start, and then you've just got to do it in wet clothes for the remainder of the session.
A good PT for you is if you reduce them to tears.
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears just all over the floor. No, so I think sort of my background is sort of like I do like a bit of like functional bodybuilding style of things. So I still incorporate that into my workouts, and then still sort of like do that hybrid style of stuff. So just being efficient and good in every area. And then that's sort of like my style of training. So the stuff that I would bring is like is again is sort of like barbell stuff, but not overly complicated. So not going into sort of like CrossFit style, keeping it fairly simple, but also just, and the workouts they'll just push you. And it's all like anything, isn't it? It's all when you see people work out, and it's so much of a mindset thing, isn't it? It's like when your body's telling you to stop.
Yeah,
just don't
stop. Keep going. Yeah,
just go until you die.
Yeah, just go until you die.
One thing I'd say is, people shouldn't judge you by your cover, like a book. So if you're listening to this podcast rather than watching, you won't see what Michael looks like. But if you go on his Instagram and you see what it looks like, you might assume that he is
scares me.
A certain type of coach. But he's, as a person, you're very sort of down to earth, warm. I think you'd be a really personable coach. So
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Danny just said. I think, mate, since you came in, we got on well with you instantly as soon as you came into the class, and obviously jumped in the PFT. You were mingling with everyone in the PFT, met some cool people. I'm sure they've probably started following you now. What's your Instagram, mate, so people can follow you?
Just change it recently.
You can remember it.
I think it's Michael Logue Fitness or something.
Michael Logue Fitness. So we'll add that to the show notes as well. If you do have any questions, drop him a DM. Drop us a DM on Spirit Level. You can leave comments, I believe, on this show as well. If you did enjoy it and you want to get to know Michael more, you want to book him for a PT, you can head to our website, leave comments, let us know what you thought, and we'll leave it at that. Have you got anything else to say, Danny?
I was just going to say, if you didn't enjoy it, keep your opinions to yourself. We don't need negativity in our lives.
Keep your opinions to yourself.
Anything else that you wanted to chat about before we wrap up? Anything else that you wanted to get out there? Things you're going to do in Dubai? Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on is you go skydiving, right? I know that your missus loves jumping out of a plane, and so do you.
Yeah.
So if you want to go skydiving with Michael as well,
If you want to go skydiving, get in contact with my missus, because she's not
Obsessed with it.
She's not scared. Don't get in touch with me, because I get squeaky bum time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she
Okay.
doesn't at all. So get in touch with her.
Okay, so if you want to go skydiving, then reach out to Michael to give you his girlfriend's number.
Yeah. And we'll all go jumping, but I'll be bricking it. So
Yeah. All right, mate, thanks for coming on, and I know you're travelling very shortly. You're going to be heading
the
to
UK, back to the UK,
the UK,
and then to Portugal.
and to Portugal, and then back to Dubai. You'll be back on the 19th, right?
Back, yeah.
And then you'll be taking on clients from then for PT.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to have you running your own class. So if you do want to jump in a class with Michael, keep an eye on our socials. We'll be promoting that class on our Instagram. I'm sure Michael will be pushing it from his Instagram as well. And yeah, we'll share his email and his details so you can reach out. If you've got any questions, then you can ask him directly. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.